Hi, I'm Nick.
And I'm Mel. I grew up playing outside.
And I grew up doing something meaningful, watching movies and TV.
I never had cable, and we finally bought a VCR about the same time DVD players hit the market.
Throughout our marriage, Mel has sadly missed many of my pop culture references and movie quotes.
So it's time to catch up on all the films I missed.
Hey Chris, how are you tonight?
Nick, I'm back. Where's Mel? Is she staying in school, staying off drugs?
I'm pretty sure she's off drugs, but you never know with kids. You got to watch them like a hawk, right?
Yeah, right.
I mean, actually, no, that's not true. Her drug uptake has actually increased significantly since she's gone back to grad school.
Those crazy kids, they're doing that Mary Jane in the bathrooms and stuff in those colleges.
Well, I'm just saying she had kicked coffee. And then going to grad school, caffeine is now a drug choice again. So yeah.
Well, that's okay. That's if you're going to do drugs, caffeine's a good one to do.
It is a good one to do. And I love how it has this flavor of the month thing to it. Like every 5 years, it's horrible for you, and then it's good for you. I think we're in a good for you phase right now, which makes me feel nice.
That's why she's doing it.
That's why she's
listening to her elders.
She's actually sleeping, so we have to keep it down. Because you need to rest your brain.
Yeah.
I can't hear you, though. You're in my ear.
Oh, okay. Good. I'll be loud then.
Okay. All right. So thank you so much again for coming on. I always enjoy our time traveling back into the yesteryear times.
Me too.
Do you recall, what we're watching, right?
Yes, we are seeing Pretty in Pink. I
was surprised you'd never seen this. If I'm being honest.
Let me tell you why.
I know you like John Hughes, but I want to hear your why, please.
Yeah, there's kind of a reason. I mean, first of all, I know this is going to shock you, but
yes,
I have never been a 16-year-old girl.
Nor
am I right now, for those listening. So like the reason I've never seen this, I guess it's my impression that this is a chick flick. Okay. And before
there were air quotes in there too, by the way. There were quotes for the chick flick. Yes, air quotes.
I do not in any way mean that in a derogatory way.
Sure. It's a genre.
Yeah. I love John Hughes. I've seen this. I'm really excited to see this because this is one of the only movies that he's written that I have not seen. But over the years, I just kind of thinking that it was a chick flick. I just really thought I wouldn't get anything out of it, or really wasn't the intended audience. And that if I watched it, if anything, it would speak to me, which again, that's fine. Like I don't expect everything to be made for me. Fair. But it also means I'm not necessarily going to check it out if I have a million other choices.
Yeah, so that makes sense.
It's something that I've avoided for decades. And just so on the flip side, there's something that my wife Molly calls dude movies. Have you gotten this from her?
No. What's a dude? Well, I mean, is it like Fast and the Furious? Is that a dude movie?
Yeah, that'd be one. So a few examples, like there'll be times we'll be talking about something that reminds me of a movie. And I'll be like, remember that scene in Rocky IV where Apollo's like getting destroyed by the Russian and the trainer starts yelling like, throw the damn towel.
Yeah.
I said that once and she just looked at me like, that's a dude movie. I've never seen that. Like, why are you? And another instance, once I was like, God, I feel like that test robot in RoboCop 2, the one that like rips his head off its skull and screams.
I remember that. Yes.
She looked at me and go like, that's a dude movie. And seriously, it used to shock me, Nick, but not anymore, because I guess I can't really say anything to her because I've avoided movies like Pretty in Pink for basically the same reason.
You know what though? Like, Melissa, we went through this too. Like I've shown her as part of Film Lag, like Arnold Schwarzenegger films, like his action movies, which are dude movies, like Rocky 1. Like she had avoided Sylvester Stallone films too. Rambo,
Okay.
like all those things. And she's actually really enjoyed them too. So it's so funny how like it'll be interesting to see what your take is on this one. So to see if
Yeah.
it translates as well for you.
And I feel like if Molly actually took the time to watch some of those movies, maybe not
Mhm.
RoboCop 2. I'm
That's
not
probably
going
not a
to
good start
put
off.
that on
No,
her.
no.
But some of the other ones, I think there might be something in there that speaks to her. So I personally, even though I've had this stereotype in my head about this one,
Mhm.
um, I'm excited to watch it.
Okay.
And actually, if anything, even though I haven't traditionally been the audience,
Mhm.
I think you'll relate to this. I'm raising three young girls right now who
Yes,
will
sir. Me
soon
too.
be teenagers.
Mhm.
And my oldest is just 1 year away from that.
Mine
So,
is. So
oh,
yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
she's
So you're
13.
in
Yeah.
it.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, like, if this movie is about the life and dreams of a teenage girl, which I admit I know absolutely nothing about,
Sure.
in which I think this movie is about, at least
Yeah.
from my impression of it,
Right.
that
Right.
is something I have zero frame of reference on, and honestly scares the hell out of me as a dad. Like that
So
whole world that she's about to go into.
okay.
I don't know, man. I don't have much to offer her in terms of parental guidance. So
Right.
maybe I'll learn something from this and get a glimpse into a world that's foreign to me.
I think I would probably frame this one as antiquated research.
There, yeah,
It's
that's
because it's
great.
it's going to be research of a sort, but it's also from the 80s, so might not be the
Yeah.
most up to date information.
Well, and it also was written by a straight grown man, John
Correct.
Hughes. So
Correct.
that's
Yes.
like the most 80s things in the world is to
Right. Right.
tell the story of a 16-year-old girl through the
Fair.
lens of a middle-aged guy from Chicago.
I mean,
So I
to
don't
be
know.
fair, though, I have heard interview after interview with actresses and actors who worked with him and who saw his films, like a whole generation of people, and just really like talking about how he captures like being a teenager and like what life is
Yeah.
like. So we'll see if it holds
And
up.
yeah,
Not that we
I
can verify it or not, but anyway.
no, but his other movies did. I mean,
Yeah.
like Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, like I won't go into it too much here, but like, okay, so Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Breakfast
Mhm.
Club, Home Alone, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Weird Science, all of these. I mean, he like wrote the 80s
I think you mean
essentially.
real genius, but yeah, I get you.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Sorry, I'm
sorry, it's
trolling you. I'm
confusing.
trolling you. I'm sorry, I
Yeah,
couldn't help it.
yeah, it's. But what I'm hoping happens in this one, which I think he has done with all those films, he
Mhm.
just kind of captures the human experience well. And
True.
whether you're a man or a woman, like I
Absolutely.
think it's just universal as the
Yeah.
teen experience, regardless of what end of that you're on.
Hmm. I
So I'm looking forward to that here.
I'm very envious of you to be able to experience a movie for the first time. I always love that feeling. I actually like realized during the pandemic, I was like, I haven't seen a lot of John Hughes films. I've only seen like two or three. So I
Okay.
started watching more. And have I told you my like philosophy on directors yet? I can't remember
No,
if I've ever explained.
I don't
So
think so.
to me, I treat directors, if I find a director I really like their work, their movies become like bottles of wine. Like I'm a collector. Like I only get
Sure.
to open that bottle one time. It's the
Yeah.
first time that I get to experience it. That only
Yeah.
ever happened once. So like I have certain directors where I have them in the cellar and they're waiting. Like I have a couple Kubrick films I still haven't seen. I'm waiting for
Ooh.
those.
Oh.
So yeah, so that's what I think of. Like John Hughes also like, he's a great director and writer. So that's why I feel like we're blowing the dust off of a bottle for you
Yeah.
tonight.
And honestly, for this one, I kind of forgot that it was even in the wine cellar, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
it kind of fell down and rolled under my shelves.
Yeah,
And during a renovation, I kind of found it. So
that's
uh,
that's what happens with the great films. They find
yeah,
reels all the time and like old
that's
photos,
true.
and
Yeah,
they restore them.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, how much do you actually know about the plot of this one? Anything?
I
You just think
no,
it's about
nothing.
a
I just
teenage
think it's
girl?
about a teenage girl.
Okay.
I think it's about a teenage girl and kind of like her trials and tribulations. Like
And-
I've seen 16 Candles,
okay.
so maybe I'm getting a little vibe of that on here,
Sure.
which
Those two are mixed up very frequently. You don't know anything about the subplot of the brain-sucking aliens? Like,
if that happens, I'll stand up and cheer. Honestly, all I'm looking for out of a movie or this is just to feel something. I don't care what it is. I could feel happy, sadness, anger, amusement. That's my goal when I'm watching movies, to either feel something or learn something, even if it's about myself. So if a chick flick can do that, and it may, I'm willing to give it a shot.
All right. Well, wow. Give me, I want your poster. What do you think the poster of this one's going to be? Explaining the 16 Candles poster. That's cheating. That's offsides.
So the poster is close up America's sweetheart, Molly Ringwald, looking pretty in pink. And she's surrounded on all sides, like buried almost. Think like E.T. in the stuffed animal cupboard with pink things. So she's got pink curtains around her, pink pillows, pink flamingos, pink elephants. Pink Floyd's in there. Pinky and the Brain is there. Pink Panther. She's there. He's there.
Some of those things didn't exist when the movie was made, but okay.
They're all there. They're all there. Like the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper's.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of that, but like Miss America's Sweetheart in the middle. Molly Ringwald. Yeah.
You're giving me very Legally Blonde vibes right now. Have you ever seen Legally Blonde?
I have. Yeah. That's one of Molly's favorite movies.
Yes, I was going to say that's the genre of chick flick as well.
Yeah. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that movie.
Okay. So what's your tagline?
So my tagline is pretty in pink, putrid in purple. Like Molly Ringwald's beautiful in pink. Yeah. In purple, she's just like a rotting, empty, hollowed out corpse. Walking Dead style, like crawling up.
You mean metaphorically? Or have you seen her in a movie where
No, that's the tagline. She's pretty in pink, but she's putrid in purple.
I thought it was getting personal for a moment here, and I was like,
no. That's the tagline.
Pretty in pink, putrid.
It's the juxtaposition of
that makes complete sense.
Yeah, she's pretty in pink. Let's keep her in pink.
Keep her in pink. I was going to ask you, like, if you were nervous about anything in the movie, and then I was like, oh, you're obviously nervous about a zombie Molly Ringwald. So,
you know who else I'm nervous about is Jon Cryer a little bit.
Oh, really?
Something about that bro's face just bothers me.
Doesn't sit right.
It's almost fish-like, I guess, or in Beetlejuice when Gina Davis like pulls her face out and smashes her eyes in. It's kind of like that. I'm getting very personal with people's looks today, apparently. But I'm trying to keep an open mind about Jon Cryer, even though he annoys me. And I can't forgive him for 2.5 Men.
Oh, well, I mean, everybody needs a paycheck, right? That's getting $1 million an episode or whatever it was. That's pretty hard to pass up.
Well, yeah. But so I'm nervous about that.
All right.
I'm nervous about that killing the movie for me because I'm not a big fan of him.
You're hoping Jon Cryer doesn't make you cry.
I am. Okay. But that said, I'm 99.8% all in on this. I'm opening my pink heart and pink soul to the pinkness of Pretty in Pink.
Well, all right. Let's go get pinktrified then.
Yeah. Let's get pinky.
Let's go check it out.
I love this woman, and I have to tell her. And if she laughs, she laughs.
It makes it easier to bear.
Feel any better if I asked you to the prom?
His name's Blane. He's so beautiful.
Blane? Oh, that's a major appliance. That's not a name.
You won't regret it, no. Some girls, they don't forget it.
Does he have strong lips? Strong lips.
It's too weird for me, Maybe this shouldn't happen.
Maybe it doesn't happen all the time, but doesn't mean it isn't right?
Does
this is not the time to get serious over some Nimrod.
He's gonna use you and then throw you away.
You're ashamed to be seen with me.
I am
You're
not.
ashamed to go out with me.
Squeeze her, don't tease her, never leave her.
You like him, he likes you. What his friends think shouldn't make any difference.
I just want to let them know that they didn't break me.
Just don't write love songs like they used to. Oh.
Well, what did you think of that, sir?
Well, it was a chick flick, so I'm standing my ground. But like most of Hughes' films, I think it was a Hughes chick flick. So I would say it was insightful, man. I felt something. So that, that was kind of like my bar, right? I wanted to feel. I felt something.
Yeah.
It was like I'd say it was a balanced look at like the human condition. It really, regardless of gender, which Hughes does really well. I feel like
he does. It's true.
Very kind of balanced, but it was very well written.
Yeah, this one, I always in my mind, and I think I warned against this too, is like you think it's going to be a comedy and it's going to be like this fun, lighthearted thing, because I think my brain always gets it mixed up with 16 Candles, which is way more like fun loving, etc. But this one is like, it's legit a drama. Like,
yeah,
it is like,
it is confusing.
Yeah, totally.
Like, it's not even a dramedy. It's a drama.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, like the main themes, and I'll just jump into the plot, but give
me a quick summary. Yeah.
Yeah. It's an exploration of the pain of love. And the dynamics of class, which is not, both of those are not lighthearted. That's pretty heavy stuff for a teen flick, but that's like John Hughes for you.
It's like a Russian novel. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So there are four main characters, and I just think like talking about each of them will kind of explain the plot, because even though it's a very deep subject, the plot itself isn't that complex. So Molly Ringwald, she plays high school senior Andie, who is a poor working class teen living in the Chicago suburbs. And the movie's, I think, really told from her point of view. I mean, there are other like side plots going on, but it kind of seems like Andie's show.
Oh, absolutely.
She lives with her unemployed father named Jack, who can't hold a job because he's so depressed that his wife left him and Molly Ringwald 3 years ago, which I want to talk more about in a minute, but I'll hold.
Okay.
So Molly, I'm just going with Molly Ringwald with this one too. I know she has a character name, but
but she's Molly Ringwald. Got it.
She's Molly Ringwald. So Molly, she basically takes care of him. She like lovingly tries to convince him to move on with his life and get his act together, and like be a parent, because she's a teenager. And so she's struggling with that. Meanwhile, Molly has a best friend named Duckie, who you kind of warned me.
I tried.
Played by the especially annoying Jon Cryer, who he's like an unpopular nerd. I'd even say he's like a creep. Would you say he's a creep?
I would call him an 80s nerd, which is way different than a nerd in other eras. I think now you would call him like, I don't know what you'd call him now, but in the 90s, you would have called him and this is just accurate from my memory of the 90s. You would call him people would have called him a freak. Like he's just a weirdo who's on the fringes of everything. Not what people might say nowadays, but again, accurate for the 90s. So anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. A freak is a great description. He's not really part of any
clique or
mainstream clique. He's just kind of doing his own thing.
Exactly. Yep.
Wearing 1950s clothes and suspenders and saying creepy things to girls.
Yes.
That he thinks are wooing.
Yes, exactly. His woo is way off. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and it's very off because he is madly in love with Molly Ringwald, and he has been since grade school, but he is stuck squarely in the friend zone with her.
He's like president and founding member.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You look up friend zone, it's his picture.
Yes.
Like with a heart bubble towards Molly Ringwald. So that's Duckie. Then we have James Spader. He plays Steph, which is a great preppy name.
What was his
80s.
name?
Steph.
Steph?
Yeah.
Like as in Stephanie? Steph?
Like Stefan, I think. It's spelled Steff. Yeah.
Steph. Okay. All right. He was my favorite character, spoilers, in the whole movie. I'll get into the why that is.
Yeah, he's a good one. He's memorable. So Steph, James Spader, he's like a D-bag preppy kind of rich kid who goes to Molly school. And along with his rich friends, like the rich popular girls and the rich popular boys, they all make fun of Molly for like being poor, making her own clothes,
for being
having
awesome,
a personality.
Basically. Yeah.
Yeah. And James Spader does this, even though in the beginning of the movie, he tries and fails at making a pass at Molly Ringwald. So it's kind of like basically his incel rage at her throughout the movie.
Yeah.
And Spader's best friend is Blane, played by I would say, Nick, dreamy Andrew McCarthy in this one. Yeah. He's 80s dreamy. 80s dreamy. Not for me personally, but
okay. I mean, he feels, who's the guy from Grey's Anatomy? What was that guy's name again?
McDreamy.
Yeah, no, but what's his real name? The actor's name.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, right?
I know you're talking about. I'll remember it later.
He feels like the poor man's version of him to me when I think of the 80s, because he was also in a lot of 80s movies, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking about in the reality of the film. The film presents him as dreamy.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, I have a few comments on that.
Sure.
There's some holes I could poke in that, but according to the 80s and this movie, he's dreamy.
Yes.
So he is actually one of the preppy rich kids. And again, he's James Spader's best friend, but he has a heart of gold. And he also falls for Molly Ringwald. And after some kind of awkward flirting, I guess, eventually ask her out.
Is that
thing?
I guess
it is.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like he walks to the record store and like awkwardly walks around her while saying random things.
And you picked out like a record that his grandpa would pick out or something like that.
Yeah.
It's just horrible.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So Agent McCarthy's into her, and that obviously angers both Duckie because he wants to be with Molly Ringwald, and Steph because he doesn't want to see his best friend date a poor girl. Basically, is his big thing. It's like a class difference, right? So those are the main people. The movie kind of follows the ups and downs as Molly Ringwald and Andrew McCarthy kind of try to make their Romeo and Juliet, rich poor romance work. Meanwhile, Duckie tries in increasingly desperate ways to win the love of Molly Ringwald. And meanwhile, James Spader's Steph, he just tries to sabotage and ruin their relationship by pressuring Andrew not to bring a poor girl into their classy ranks.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
that's
it's deep for a dramedy.
Yes, it is. I feel like John Hughes, I don't know how old his kids were, but maybe they were reading Romeo and Juliet for the first time. And he was like, I need to make this for the 80s because it just screams Juliet.
It really does.
Yeah. So where do you want to start? Oh my goodness. Where do you want to start?
Yeah.
Thoughts.
I just like maybe the broad theme, because like what I really liked about this was so different than other 80s movies, really any movie, but especially in that time zone, the mid 80s, is it really centered on the idea of love, not like lust or like obsession. It was more, I think, a pure look at that idea or feeling. It was like an honest look at the desire of humans, man or woman. It kind of looked at Molly Ringwald's desire to be loved and be accepted. And, Duckie kind of represented the man's point of view in that as well.
Sure.
It was kind of like love, blemishes and all. So I thought that was a very adult exploration of that using like teenagers.
Okay. All right. I just kept, I've seen this before. And when I was watching it this time, I was kind of like, maybe it's because I'd already gone through my first view of it. This was, I think, my second view. I was kind of like, these people, I wasn't enjoying the story as much the second time through as the first time. Because I was like, this feels so vapid. Like it feels so shallow and so vapid is the word I got. And the thing I realized after I sat down and thought about it, though, was he really captured what it's like to have the emotions of a teenager.
Yeah.
I was watching it as an adult going, that's not really love they're experiencing. That, like they don't even know what the concept is, etc. That kind of stuff you get. But like, she literally met Andrew McCarthy and then they were in love with each other after like, what, a day? Like it was, You and I talked about this a lot when we were watching our films throughout history about the different eras where, if you talk to someone in like 1940s, it means you were getting married. If you kissed someone, whatever, etc. Like they were advanced, to the 80s, though, it's to the point where, oh, I like him. Boom, I love him. It just kind of like got there really fast. So,
yeah, I see what you're saying. I feel like it kind of took the abstract look at things. For example, like
absolutely
the way Duckie acted, and I want to talk about that too, like him being in the friend zone. But the things he did and the way it was like so over the top that it was almost like he was acting out what he was feeling. Like they all were doing that. They were kind of all acting out how they felt. And what else can you do on a film? You have kind of are showing the audience how they felt. I guess that's the way I took it, of why it was so like in your face about things.
Sure. It was, it also too, like, again, captures the teenage id. Like it's just raw thought, raw reactions, raw out there, just like flashing to it, which watching this as a middle-aged man, knock on wood, I'm middle-aged. The interesting part too is because they have, was it Janine Annie Potts or Janine Annie Potts?
Annie Potts, yeah, you're going Ghostbusters.
Yeah, she goes Janine Ghostbusters. Annie Potts, because she's like middle-aged looking at this.
Yeah,
she's looking back at it like, I miss that feeling, which is this movie just hits so much differently being middle-aged versus being a teenager. Like a lot of movies do that, but this one in particular, it's this weird, like you're looking through the lens of your past and kind of like thinking about how things were for you. And you're kind of like walking in those shoes, trying to remember that as you watch it. Like when things were that intense, like you knew someone was going to die if you didn't talk to them, stuff like that. Like, it really, which is probably why it bothered me, because I'm such an adult now that I'm like, that's ridiculous. But it's hard to like get in touch with that again. But the movie does it really well.
That's their reality, right? Like they haven't had the experience of going through that cycle over and over until they don't have the perspective, right? Like perspective is something gained, not given, right? Like they haven't gained it. This is, but with speaking of Annie Potts and also Molly Ringwald's dad, like I thought they were over the top too about it, and they're adults, but it's like them emoting basically this feeling in order for it to come across on film. That was my take on it anyway.
Yeah, totally. The dad was he did a great job. Like he acted it really well. Like he was kind of a sad sack, and you really felt for the guy, but at the same time you were like, come on, man. Like as you're watching you feel so bad for Molly Ringwald just in the position she's in, and having to parent your parent is not the best situation in the world.
No.
Yeah. And
also like facing, being poor and not able to afford clothes as a teenager. That's rough.
Yeah. That was the part of it too, where it's like, this is the movie magic. Cause they established she was poor. And yet she has this like amazing car. She has this, she has a lot of different things that you wouldn't. She has Pepsi's out the wazoo. She, all these different things. Like she's got tons of stuff. So really, it's like I think it's poor as a matter of perspective. With people who have like BMWs, but
compared to the rich kids.
Exactly. They're only making,
her dad is played by Harry Dean Stanton. He's been in a ton of awesome kind of genre movies. Like he was really good in Repo Man. He was in Alien.
Oh yeah.
He's been around a while. It was cool to see him. I guess it's not a leading man, but he was more like playing a normal guy. In this, I'm not used to seeing him like that.
Yeah. He reminded me a lot of I'm blanking on his name. He was in Gremlins. He's the guy who has the tractor. He's in Bucket of
Blood. Dick Miller.
Dick Miller. He gave off very much a Dick in this movie, like just with how he was. I could definitely see Dick Miller playing that role if he were a little younger when it was filmed.
Yeah. McDreamy's name, Patrick Dempsey.
Yes.
Just remembered it.
Yes.
I knew it would come to me.
Yep.
The processor was running.
He definitely looks like he was chiseled out of something, that man. I whenever I think of Andrew McCarthy, though, I always think of Weekend at Bernie's. That's like my essential like Andrew McCarthy film.
Yeah, he was a lot younger in this one.
He sure was.
Yeah, more fresh-faced.
Yeah. So
I want to talk about the friend zone, though, because speaking of like over the top emotions, the thing that stood out the most to me was just how accurate of a representation of being friend zoned this movie holds, and it's gut wrenching. Like being friend zoned is gut wrenching, but this showed, and I guess I feel two ways about it, because Duckie kind of deserved to be friend zoned, like the way he acted and the things he did. But I'm kind of wondering if that, again, this is kind of told from Molly Ringwald's perception. So I'm wondering if the movie is kind of showing us why Molly Ringwald isn't into him.
Okay.
If it's really coming across that way. I know it's reality, but again, everything's over exaggerated in this.
Yeah. Sure.
But yeah, it was just like Duckie did and said things like you think in your head when you're around someone you're madly in love with and it wants nothing to do with you. But he actually did them. Like even to the point where Molly Ringwald asked Annie Potts, who is her record store boss, she's like, have you ever had one of these? Talking about Duckie. And I was like, ow, it's like right in front of him. She said this. It's like, ouch. Like she's even saying stuff like that in front of him and he won't let up.
Yeah.
But it's almost like you're with her because of the stupid stuff that he's doing.
Yeah. He's ridiculous. Yes. It's like she's trapped surrounded by men / boys who are just self-destructive and not healthy for her. And she's just there in it and can't get away from it.
The most embarrassing scene, and one of my favorites too, because it was so like cringy, I guess I'd say. And even when I say that word, my tween daughter says I'm cringe for saying cringe. So at the risk of being cringe, describing cringe, I'm going to get into it, but I can't really think of another term to describe it. I guess desperate. So there's a scene, he goes into the record store and he's trying to like be romantic and I think even like sexy maybe towards Molly Ringwald.
Sure.
And he starts lip syncing the Otis Redding song, Try a Little Tenderness.
Yes.
Like complete with like dorky dancing around and gyrating at her like in the record store.
Yes.
Oh my God. I was like seeing that. I don't know if that's like an iconic scene from this movie, but it should be. It's so horrible. In the best way, it's horrible.
Yeah, that's actually, I think that's my favorite scene in the movie because you see it and you're kind of like, this guy's crazy. And it's the whole song. Like it goes through the whole song, not just like snippets of it, like the whole song. And Molly Ringwald, when you watch her in that one too, she's like, you can, it makes you wonder if he does stuff like this all the time because she's treating it like it's so normal and casual.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't even faze her. And when I think of that scene, I think that scene, if you juxtapose that with the scene of him in his bedroom at home, where you just see him by himself, he has like a mattress on the floor.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
he's actually poor. Like Molly Ringwald is like rich compared to him, it seems like. And so like it really tells you a lot, I think, about his character. The way that he like he probably has, he feels like he has nothing. And all he has is this perception of what he can become. And it's misguided, but he is like all in because that's all he has. He just has to like go all in on this thing because he doesn't have anything else. And it's like,
and it's his ideal of love. It's like I think he mentions he's been with her or in love with her since like eighth grade, or maybe even like third grade school. Basically, he's been in love with her. It's like all he knows. Exactly. And it's almost like the more she withholds from him, the more crazy it makes him. And the more he wants to be with her.
Wow. So did this role do the impossible for you, by the way? Did it make you go, Jon Cryer, yeah, that he did all right?
I mean, he's so annoying in it. Like I enjoyed his performance. Yes. I think he did a great job in the movie. Yeah. But that great job was to be annoying. So I was still very, very annoyed by him and wanted him to get off the screen. But in the best way, John.
Yes.
You did a bang up job.
He did. It I can't, it's hard to imagine another actor doing as good as he did with just everything about who he is and how he did it and everything. Like, it was perfect for the part, especially the manicness of the character. So yeah, it was great.
Yeah, the friend zone is not a good place to be.
No.
In terms of, have you ever been in the friend zone?
Obviously not. Yeah, absolutely.
Nah, there's a lot of laughing and head shaking and looking away.
I would be hard pressed. I think you'd be hard pressed to find a guy or a girl who's not been in the friend zone. Guys are probably more often in the friend zone, but I think girls are in the friend zone a lot more than you'd think. I think it's a perception thing that we think that it never happens to girls, but yeah, I've definitely been in the friend zone. Yeah.
I have as well. So I've been in the friend zone, and I have also put someone in the friend zone. So I've seen both sides of this.
Did you?
And
did you dance?
This is all in high school.
Did you dance and gyrate when you were in the friend zone to try and like break to the friend zone?
In my head, I'm sure. I never actually queued up Otis Redding, but things that I thought were like foolproof, I'm going to win this person over. I'm sure she was sitting there staring at me with contempt, like Molly Ringwald did. But it's like such a desperate situation to be in.
Yeah,
and I mean, it's horrible for the person being friend zoned, but on the flip of it, like, I got where she was coming from too. It's like she does still want to be his friend, and when I was in the flip. When I was the Molly Ringwald in this situation, that is also how I felt. Like I did honestly and genuinely care for the person.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be their friend, but I saw they wanted more. And that's the tricky thing. Do you end your friendship over that? And so it gives you perspective. I had that experience after I was the friend zone person.
Sure.
When you're in the friend zone person, you don't get it. It's just like, why isn't this going to work?
Yeah.
Have you ever heard that song by Death Cab for Cutie? I Will Possess Your Heart.
I don't know. It's not ringing a bell.
It's if it's the closest a song has ever got to like describing the friend zone and what it feels like. And I feel like this is the movie equivalent of that song. So I definitely recommend it if for anyone who's ever been in the friend zone and you want to revisit that horrible feeling, cue up Death Cab for Cutie and you'll feel nice and horrible again.
And if you watch Pretty in Pink backwards while listening to that song, a special message will happen or something.
You'll curl into the fetal position and feel like you're never going to be loved again. I think that's what happens.
That's feeling something. And I'm glad, Chris,
Yeah.
I'm glad, Chris, you could move past it and we could stay in the friend zone and we could still be friends. I'm glad.
Oh, I know, Nick. Yeah, this tests me every time we do this.
So can we talk about James Spader's performance?
Yeah. He's the epitome of 80s debaggery.
The way his face is in this movie, it's like apathy, like apathetic, just like it's like he's on drugs the entire time. Maybe it was the 80s, who knows? I don't know. But it's so perfect. His delivery, his tone of voice, everything about it is absolutely perfect for the role. And his personality too. He does this kind of across. He was kind of James Spadery. Like he kind of like imbues that in the different roles he's in. I'm hard pressed to find a bigger D-bag than him in this movie, because you really like. It's so weird though. He was obviously the character you were going to hate, right?
Yeah.
But the way he kind of played it, you hated him, but at the same time, when he tried to articulate like why he was, trying to like stop her, I don't know. He had this like, even though you hated him, you're like, he's still in his own weird, twisted ways trying to help his friend out, which is such a weird vein to like. You felt almost tricked as an audience member. You're like, am I kind of supposed to like him right now? He's quote unquote looking out for his friend, but it's a horrible way to look out for him. It definitely left you conflicted a bit, very briefly.
Yeah,
because he's still horrible.
He was conniving.
Yeah,
but charismatic, I guess. At the same token, the scene with him that speaks to your point well is when Andrew McCarthy takes Molly Ringwald to his house and they're having a big party. This is where they go on their first date, which at the time we were watching, like, this is a horrible idea for a first date.
Why would you
take your poor date, literally poor,
yes,
to the rich kid's house who hates her, and he knew this, to his house. And he's like, oh, my friends, they just got to see you like I do and they'll accept you.
Yes.
And James Spader is like in a bedroom with the girl who torments Molly Ringwald, the preppy rich blonde girl.
Yes.
And she, the rich girl, starts ragging on Molly Ringwald, and he kind of like comes to her defense, but still like backhanded insults her at the same time. It's a really classy debaggery way to bring her down and really knock his friend down too. Like basically chastise him for bringing her there while saving face. It's a very like pompous, rich way to demean someone.
He also has the scene later where it's just him and Andrew McCarthy, and he's talking about, he drops like, your parents are gonna blah 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 blah. They're gonna like,
yeah, right.
Like that's where you're like, oh well, he's actually, that one right there to me felt the most caring, even though it was like it just showed how poor Andrew McCarthy's situation was. That he was living in an environment where his parents were like that and everything, but that was probably the most human glimpse for me, is that little moment where he's like, your parents, man. Because like we could pretend all we want, but at the end of the day, we're children and our parents can like nuke our lives basically. And he was kind of like reaching into that piece, which that's
he also knew that would get him too, right? Like it stopped being about their friendship and started being about the whole undercurrent of this, which is class. Like you're trotting around with like a beggar, basically. You're a higher status, and
it's like it's like reverse Aladdin. Like it's Jasmine, and she's Aladdin. Molly Ringwald is Aladdin. She makes a magic carpet of pinkness out of all the old dresses that her father can magically buy for some reason. He could afford to buy this dress that looks really nice.
The best part is he's like, I bought you this beautiful dress. I'm sure you'll make it look great. Like He's counting on her to Cinderella her own dress, basically.
And they like flirt with this idea of him. She's like, "Where did you get the money?" And he was like, "Don't worry about it." Was he donating blood? Did he kill someone?
I think he lifted it. 5-finger discount.
Yeah, like
that was where my head went.
Where did it come from? That's the biggest plot point that I didn't have wrapped up. That I was like, "What's happening?"
Yeah. He worked occasionally. He just couldn't hold down a job because he was too depressed.
True. And, it is a sad situation. Poor dad. He should let his teenage daughter keep taking care of him.
Yeah. Let's talk about that because it really made me mad. And, we always talk about like the lessons we learn from these movies. This isn't really a lesson I really need, but I think it's just a reminder. Like come on, man. You have to be there for your kids. I do not care. So let's set the stage. His wife walked out on Molly Ringwald and him 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. And since then, he can't hold down a job because he's so depressed that she left them basically in the lurch. Yeah. She went out to get a pack of smokes and didn't come back.
Yeah.
But for 3 years, he's been so depressed he couldn't find a job. When he sees the impact it's having on his daughter, like, buck up, man. You have a daughter. If it's just him, I get it. Like, do your own thing, wow yourself, but you have responsibilities.
Sure.
I could not. It seemed that kind of like, I don't know if it just made me mad, and that's why I didn't want to believe it, but it seemed a little unbelievable, I guess, in this.
Yeah.
For 3 years. That's a long time.
That is a long time. The only explanation I would think is he's like clinically depressed. Like he is like, has something going on where he just literally needs medication or something. But
no, I know it's the 80s and people aren't getting help, but the movie doesn't get into that. It's all about how much he loved her and how her leaving devastated him to the point that he can't even go to work. He can't get up. But he's presented as this like loving guy who loves Molly Ringwald. If you love her, man, go to work and bring in a check. So
I wonder if he never worked. Maybe he never worked and the wife was the breadwinner, and maybe she couldn't take it anymore and she just left. And so he's just really super selfish and doesn't want to work, and he just gets caught up in that.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I hear you. But Molly Ringwald even goes so far as to getting him an interview for a job, and he doesn't go to the interview because he's so sad. It's been 3 years, but I'm so sad. Even like, come on, man, get over it and go get a job. That's all I wanted to say to them.
Whatever. I'm thinking of the scene in The Big Lebowski where Lebowski's talking to Lebowski, and he's like, "Do what your parents did. Get a job, sir."
Exactly.
He needed that talk. He definitely did.
Molly Ringwald gives it to him essentially at the end.
Yeah.
She talks some sense, and she also says, "Hey, I'm hurting too. It was my mom." Like, he's just so selfish, and I just want to strangle that guy. I hated him more than Jon Cryer, and that's a high bar.
Fair enough. What did you was there anything that like bothered you about like the settings of the films, like the tone of the film? Like, we know you hated the characters, but like anything else in the setup that bothered you or that you like really spoke to that we haven't talked about?
No, I mean, I think we went over Duckie doing things that you only think, and then the dad like just falling apart for 3 years, even though it's impacting his loving daughter, but doing it in a way where he's still like, the thing about that is the movie still portrayed him as a lovable character. I don't know what the movie wanted me to feel. I feel like it wanted me to feel bad for him, but I did not feel bad for him at all. I felt like he was a loser and he was failing his daughter, but I don't know if the movie was asking me to feel that way. What do you think the movie was trying? What did John Hughes want you to feel about Harry Dean Stanton?
I think the movie was about love and an exploration of love. So it was just he was just trying to say some people like sometimes you can feel love so deeply it makes you into a pile of mush and you can't escape. It's like this such a powerful force. He's like Icarus. He flew too close to the sun and he just tumbled down and he could never recover. And then you see these kids trying to find their own version of attaining what he talks about love and how amazing it is to his daughter and how it was so wonderful. You know what I mean? So it's like, man, now that I think about it, so much of our culture, over the last, I don't know, 80 years has been very love pop centric. There's songs about love and movies about love and books about love. And love for a lot of human history was not that big of a deal. It was more about like partnerships and having,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like the idea of being in love with someone. So maybe John was just trying to like a backlash to that, to just show you like how manic it is and kind of like it's not all roses and sweetness, and really tear you up.
I think it was to show the adults are going through this the same as the kids. Like you never get over this, because Annie Potts is another symptom of that kind of love. And honestly, she was my favorite part of the whole movie. Like Annie Potts, who played Janine in Ghostbusters, every scene she was in was like my favorite part of the movie. She was just gold. Like, so her whole vibe was she was like the lonely hearted record store owner who was, as you mentioned, like in her 30s. So she was kind of like, the movie portrayed her as kind of like nearing spinsterdom. Like she was very unlucky in love.
Yes. Yeah.
And she was very kooky, full of heart, had a great personality, and really like, she was Molly Ringwald's boss. So those two compared to each other, Molly Ringwald is really subdued, introspective. It really made Annie Potts like shine bright, I feel like, in her scenes.
Yeah.
And it follows her like having these series of relationships with people who just aren't right for her, but she's kind of at the point where she's doing anything and everything to just get a man, essentially.
Much. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so that's also going on in Molly Ringwald's life. Kind of, I kind of felt like that was a foil of like, if it doesn't happen now, it might not ever happen, kind of thing. Or it'll just be a disaster or for the rest of your life.
This movie doesn't give you a lot of hope about love. Like it tries to, but like the actual like end result of love, it shows you the father and then Annie Potts. Like it's like you either have a love that fails and it destroys you, or you can't find it and you're perpetually looking back to a past like perception of what things were forever. Like it's kind of the vibes it gave you. It's like this weird like willful ignorance. I don't know. It must have been really hard to want to delve into love as Molly Ringwald's character, given the examples she's seen.
I agree with you. For 90% of the movie, that is it. Mm-hmm. The last 10% of the movie, it kind of wraps it all up and gives people hope. So like, her dad, Molly Ringwald, finally slaps some sense into him, and he comes to the realization that she loves him. He doesn't need the wife anymore. He needs to take care of her. So that kind of gets tied up in a bow. Annie Potts, and I don't really like this, but she essentially like finds a preppy guy that she can, because she's really punk at the beginning of the movie. She has like glue in her hair.
Yeah.
And by the end, she starts dating this guy who's like stable and preppy, and she basically changes her whole personality. The movie, I think, presents that as a positive, and I just think that's awful. But she found a man, Nick. She's not going to be a spinster. That's the wrap up for her. I think
the 80s message in that one is you have to grow up. That's the 80s message. Is like,
okay, you have to lose all of your personality.
Exactly.
To be desirable.
She was being a kid and she finally had to grow up and be an adult. I think that's what it was trying to convey, which is also like the idea of what an adult was, at least, or what it seemed like is like, you have to be depressing and boring and, straight-laced.
Right.
Yeah.
And Duckie finally realizes that she's never going to be into him, and starts to move on. And then
And
Molly Ringwald and
some
Andrew
random,
McCarthy.
really attractive woman finds him attractive too. Which
Oh my gosh! Yeah, so let's talk about that for a minute, because you mentioned the first time you saw this, you didn't really like the end, and the end was fine, but the part that really made me mad. Well, I didn't like the Annie Potts thing,
sure.
But I also did not like how Duckie was just like, he sees Molly Ringwald walk off with Andrew McCarthy at the prom, the big prom climax of the movie.
Yeah.
And they walk off basically into the sunset, but in this movie it's the pouring rain to add drama, and they start making out. They're in love, they're together, it all worked out. He sees that. That's Molly Ringwald's wrap up, that love prevailed over class and everything else. But for Duckie, he just sees that, takes a big, literal, huge, deep breath. Okay. Looks up, and there's a smoking hot girl giving him the eye. It's like, smoking hot girls don't give Duckie the eye. That's why he's Duckie. If smoking hot girls gave him the eye, he would not be friend zoned since third grade with Molly Ringwald. He would have other options. Even at the beginning of the movie, he's like hitting on other girls and being a creep, saying like creepy, over sexual stuff to people, and they're like turning them down. That does not happen to Duckie. So they got to wrap it up for the guy, and I guess that's cool, but I don't know, man. Girls like that don't look at Duckie.
That's fair. The only thing I could think is she was like someone else's date, like that was like who'd never met him before. And for some reason, they had an obsession with the 1950s. So they were like, this guy, hey, look at him. He looks like Little Richard or whatever.
Wearing blue suede shoes over there.
Exactly. Yeah. If you were a character in this movie, who would you have been in the story?
Like, who do I want to be, or in real life? Who do I identify?
Who would you have been? Yeah. Who do you identify the most
in real life? Man. That's tough.
I asked the tough questions, Chris. What could I say?
Yeah. Maybe like somewhere in between Molly Ringwald and Duckie. Because I really like Molly Ringwald's character in this too. She's just trying to navigate all this. And I feel like she's doing the best she can. Like, she's the only sane person kind of in this universe. She's like internalizing everything and like trying to work it out.
Yeah.
I've definitely felt that way going through high school. Like, there was chaos around, and I was just trying to make the best of it and kind of learn my place and where I needed to go and all of that. So that's kind of Duckie too. I feel like his journey throughout this is to really accept reality and believe in himself. So how about you? Where do you land?
I would be the pet shop owner who Annie Potts met. That's me.
At the end of the movie?
The straight-laced guy who meets the kind of punk girl, and then the punk girl realizes
wearing the khakis,
not really that punk. She's like just happy being like with the person, like, and it makes her happy. So I'm that guy.
Because the khaki laced up dad is
exactly. That's me.
Yeah.
Except I didn't look anything like that in my 20s, but whatever. Yeah, that's who I'd be. Yeah.
Nice. A fringe character.
Yeah. I was literally thinking, like, as you were talking, I'm like, realistically, I'm just like the steady Eddie guy who kind of who met a punk girl and fell in love.
That's a classic story.
Classic story, tales all the time. What do you have a succinct message from this one? You pontificated a lot about the class wars and stuff, but what do you think?
Again, you have a responsibility as a parent. I'm going to reiterate this one more time because it really made me mad.
Sure.
That deadbeat Harry Dean Stanton. Harry Dean Stanton. That's his name. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
You got your ass some responsibilities when you're a dad.
Yeah.
When you're a parent, not just a dad, when you're a parent.
Yeah.
So I get he was having problems, and I'm not trying to belittle that. I get he was having some troubles. But it's not all about you anymore, man. You have a daughter and you need to provide for her.
That's fair.
And I can't feel sorry for anyone who does not do that.
Yeah, it's a rough go, man. I think the message of this film is it's actually a song from The Wedding Singer that Adam Sandler sings. One thing's for sure, love stinks.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just shows all the angles of how love can just suck. Like,
yeah.
And maybe I'm way too jaded, but the end of the movie, you mentioned I said I didn't like it. I didn't like it the second time either. I didn't like it either time I watched it.
Okay. Why?
It's this vapid's the best word I can think of. It's this bubble of optimism that is not based in reality at all, and it's going to come tumbling down. Like, and so it's this. It irks me. It irks me when people can't see beyond the moment they're in movies or in life. Yeah. Really, you're so caught up in like the moment that you can't even imagine the next moment. So,
right.
You see it as a happy ending. I see it as a great. They got to make out one night, and then tomorrow all their problems are still there, and they're still going to have all the problems and hit all the walls.
Yeah.
Things. So,
well, and I the movie sees it as a happy ending. I think that is how it presented it, that everybody had a happy ending in a way. Yeah. Yeah. But personally, I'm with you. Like, I don't think they earned that ending. They didn't together. They just had a bunch of like misadventures and miscommunication.
Yeah.
And yeah, like eventually, I guess Andrew McCarthy realized, I don't care, she's poor. Is that what he learned? Like love conquers all. I just don't feel like they earned that magical rain-soaked kiss at the prom. Like they didn't come together in a way that earned that ending.
He learned how to do one thing that characters, especially male characters in the 80s, don't ever do. And he realized that he was just wrong, and he apologized.
Yeah, that's his learning moment. A man actually admitted he was wrong.
He was wrong. So she was like, oh my goodness, this has got to be love. So, yeah.
Like, so I'm bottom line, like this one, I would say is probably the worst of the John Hughes films I've seen.
Okay.
But that's also like saying you had the worst flavor at Baskin Robbins. Like, it was still delicious ice cream. It was a treat to watch. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But of the whole buffet of Hughes, I probably wouldn't watch it again. And I've seen most of his movies many times, and I don't think I would ever purposely watch this again.
I'm going to purposefully watch this again, even though, again, it's not my favorite John Hughes film either. I want to watch it when my daughters are like 16 or 17, probably, just because it would be so fascinating to see what they think of it, being at that phase of their life.
Yeah.
So PG-13.
Yeah, I'm sure as a teen watching this, I'd be like, I feel seen. I feel so seen. As a middle-aged guy, I'm with you. I felt
seen when
it's love stinks.
Finally found his love. When the pet store guy found his love, I felt very seen, Chris.
Annie Potts deserved that. She earned her ending, and so did the pet store guy. They both earned it. I don't like that she gave up all of her personality and her hopes and dreams of being unique. But hey, if all you want is love, Annie, go grab that ring.
Right. We could talk more about that. I think she was just being comfortable. I think this is something people struggle with a lot. They don't want to be like their parents, so they try to become individuals and go extreme at things, and they never want to be like their parents, etc. But at the end of the day, there's this current in you because they raised you, and there's parts of your parents that are there, whether you like it or not. And you come to a certain age where you start to accept that. That kind of felt like that. Like, anyway. Or I could be projecting. Could be both.
Yeah.
Who knows? She's happy though, Chris. Leave her alone.
They're all happy. It's a big old happy ending of love.
Everything is pretty
after all that heartbreak.
Yeah. So speaking of heartbreak, do you want to see the AI poster that we?
Yeah, I'm ready to be heartbroken by AI.
All right. You ready for it?
I'm ready.
Go ahead and take a look at the poster that
Okay. I'm clicking. So I said it's Molly Ringwald surrounded by everything pink.
Yep.
And we got Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon cover on there. Okay, a pink elephant, a pink flamingo. There's a pink brain and a pink mouse in there, like a literal animal mouse, and a computer mouse.
Yes, which is so random and funny to me. My favorite part though is there's a pink brain because it's Pinky in the brain.
Because I said Pinky in the brain.
And the mouse is Pinky, the pink mouse.
That's where that came from.
And then there's the pink elephant. But if you look in the right there's a tiny little eye, and it's a pink eye. Like pink eye.
Oh, come on, AI.
Where did
you get nasty on me here?
I know.
Is that supposed to be George Harrison? Because I said the Sgt. Pepper's album. Is that George Harrison?
I did not have that in the prompt. So, first off, AI does not like it when you mention specific names of things. So
because of copyright.
Yeah, I had to take Molly Ringwald's name out of it before I could even get anything.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh, it just doesn't like it because it can't compute. Basically,
it's like, and no, it's like there's restrictions on,
Oh, okay.
Make weird things with known people and etc. So, but anyway, yeah, I knew this one was going to be tricky, so I had to play with it to get it to spit this out. But
so what is the creepy dude over her shoulder here? It looks like George Harrison.
It does look like George Harrison. I don't know where that came from. It was just rock and roll band. I think just Pink Floyd.
Sure.
Maybe it pulled it out of Pink Floyd. So check out
the
poster.
Pink Panther, the teddy bear is like cut in half for some reason. That's disturbing me.
Yes.
Alongside the pink guy.
And the actual poster, if you take a look at that, you've seen this.
Okay.
Right? Have you seen that poster before?
Yeah, I have. It doesn't capture the movie. I mean, I guess this one's hard to capture. Like
I think Duckie's hair captures everything, really.
Yeah. It shows they have a love triangle going on. So
that's fair. Yeah.
Ooh, like I'm reading the actual caption because I said pretty in pink, putrid in purple.
Yes. The real
laughter, the lovers, the friends, the fights, the talk, the hurt, the jealousy, the passion, the pressure, the real world. I'm with that. That tracks.
Yeah.
That's actually a pretty good summary of what they're all feeling.
It is. Well, on that note, sir, I think I need to go back to the real world. I've been pink enough. How about you?
Yeah, I'm ready to stop being pink and just feel like good about love again. I'm gonna go like, try and find some more hope and not have a rain-soaked prom. Unhappy ending. Happy ending.
Fair enough. Well, good luck with that, and that's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
Tell us what you think of this film in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more.